Hello again, my fancy, fast, and free hoppin' fencers. Welcome back to my test all weapons. We're going to be doing the missile launchers this time. I had to break the video last time, so it's going to be part 2. So without further ado, please stare at the Teddy Ruxpin, and we will begin. Alright, now we're on to the missile column. Alright, the first missiles we're going to talk about are the Arcane 6-barrel. Now, these are going to be your strongest missiles, but they also travel relatively slow. So it may be hard to lock on to drones, it may be not fast enough for drones, especially on Inferno, or just, it's going to be tougher to deal with, which I'll show you here in the actual, when I actually load up a mission. Let me take one of those with a... I'll just take it with a dash weapon, that's fine. So the max one does 2172 damage. It's got decent range, 759 meter range, very quick lock on, very quick reload time. It's another positive. Big blast radius, 27 meters, and it fires off pretty quickly. So they're not terrible. I'll show you what I mean though, why I don't really care for them as much. And then the other set of missiles, the next set of missiles we're going to talk about, I'm going to skip the Phoenix and Haytail for now, we'll get those in a second. It's the Hound. Now these are more close range missiles. They do decent damage, 1000 damage. They lock on very quickly, they fire very quickly. It's just like I said, the detriment is their range. However, you can dash with these, so that makes them a positive. So we'll take one of those. And then the next set we'll take, which is probably the most popular and most useful in my opinion, is the high altitude missiles. These things are amazing. Let me get the exact damage number. The maxed out is 1641.7, and you have 14 targets, and they fire 20 seconds. So the thing with these is, if you don't have them upgraded relatively high for the rate of fire, you're going to find them hard to fire off. But once you get them decently high, start out, then you can these will feel a lot more useful. So like I said, very good damage, decent blast radius. The ridiculous lock-on range is 1063 meter lock-on range. So these things are going to be very good for just for carpet bombing a bunch of group of enemies. So it's good on clusters of enemies because it'll hit multiple enemies as it lands with the blast radius. It's good on drones and wasps, of course, because of the range as well. And you can jump with these, which is another positive. So you can take a dash weapon with them, or what I like to do personally is I like to take a dash weapon and a jump weapon, and then what I do is I like to actually let me show that off how to do that. Let's go ahead and take some of these. So we'll take Hound, Arcane, and then we'll take high altitude to show this off. Okay, so like I said, I like to take a dash and jump with them. Alright, let's go ahead and start a mission up.
We're in this together.
Okay, so the Arcane 6-barrel, you can't dash or jump or zoom with them at all. You're just pretty much stuck in place. So that's one negative of them. The other negative of them is when you fire them, they fire straight out of the barrel and kind of sideways left and right. So it's easy to hit yourself on buildings or telephone poles or trees or whatever. And as you can see, the missiles travel very slowly to their target. So it's very hard to use on moving targets, which is a negative as well of them. So that's why I don't really use them as much, because of their slow travel distance and their danger to use. No dash, no jumping. But they're very quick reloads. If you need your best to damage missiles, then you're going to find that the Arcane are the highest damage, but a lot harder to use. Alright, next are the Hound. Now these Hound are nice because, like I said, you can dash around with them, so you can take them as a dash jump setup, which is always nice. They don't have the greatest range, like I said, but they're decent. They're decent missiles in that they fire off really quickly. You can fire them off in the air. You don't worry about hitting yourself too much. They reload pretty quickly. So it's not terrible. I mean, 12,000 damage for all that, for all the missiles landing. And I don't know. I guess I don't use them as much just because the lack of the range for one. And I feel like if you're gonna be fighting at 300 meter range, I would much rather use other weapons. Honestly, like if I'm fighting close range for drones or wasps, I'd rather take a shotgun or a dispersion mortar. Just that's me personally, but it is an opportunity. You can take them with the high altitude as well, and you can dash jump around with 2 sets of missiles if you want as well. But what I like to do personally for the high altitude, we'll talk about those next. These are the best missiles in the game, even on Inferno, even on DLC. These things are amazing because of the range mainly. But what I like to do personally is I like to take a dash jump setup, so dash jump around, and then when I'm ready to fire the missiles, what I do is I switch to them, lock on, dash jump, or jump up once or twice, let go of the missiles at the very top of the jump, and then dash jump away. And then allows you to reload. Like you can switch to them while you're dash jumping around to reload them in between dash jumps, so you can still stay mobile with them. That makes them also very good. And then when you're ready to fire again, right here, what I like to do is, like I said, just dash jump. When I'm ready to fire, I'll switch to them. Let me get to my main dash. Dash jump, switch to them, dash up once, let go at the top of the jump, and then just dash jump away. As long as you do it at the top of the jump, you will not get hit. So even when you're online with lag or whatever, as long as you're jumping straight up, don't jump to the right or jump to the left or anything like that, or backwards. Just switch to them, lock on, jump straight up, let go at the top, and then dash jump away. And that's going to be your best way to use them. And like I said, that's 1,600 damage per missile times 28 missiles, and just bombing on targets. Very quick. They shoot up in the air so they can go over buildings. Just very amazing missiles overall. So definitely try and work on upgrading these as fast as possible. If you're interested in how to upgrade specific weapons, take a look at my my video under Quick Tips playlist. I'll actually put the link in the description as well of how to find all weapons. I believe it's called. But I'll put the link in the description if you're interested in that video. But it's easy enough to farm in this game to get specific weapons you want leveled up, maxed out. Alright, on to the next weapons. And there's one more lock-on type missiles which I forgot about, which is the Bloodstorm. There's a DLC version, the 104, but unfortunately the next best one is level 32, all the way down here. And then I think there's one more down here really low. Yeah, level 2. So I'm not sure why they have level 2 32, but they don't have like one for Inferno. Regardless, the Bloodstorm is good on hard. It's fun. It's a fun weapon. It has 3 maxed out, and it has a 455 meter range with 3 targets maxed out, and then 211 times 10. So 2,000 damage. They're more... I mean, they're okay. It's kind of like... The level is a little bit too low for hard, but a little bit too high for normal. I mean, if you can get them, use them on normal, I guess it's fine, but it's just the damage is not quite good enough for hard, unfortunately. Let me go ahead and show those off really quickly here first. So
Not only the aliens, but the monsters are here too.
Alright, so the Bloodstorm. Unfortunately, you can't zoom or jump or dash with them. You're kind of stuck on the ground. That's one negative of them, but they lock on pretty quickly when you have them, and they shoot all 3, and they kind of rain down like a stampede shot almost on the enemies. So, unfortunately with these, for my experience, I'm playing on Inferno, which I don't know why I'm doing that, but they kind of detonate a little bit too early, in my opinion, and then therefore because of that, they miss a lot of their targets. So it's mainly good for groups, of course, or large targets like Arculus or Urginus maybe, but like I said, you're not going to be able to use these on hard necessarily. You might be able to use them on hard on lower levels, but 2,000 damage isn't the greatest. It does shoot 3 shots though, which isn't terrible, so mine just aren't maxed out. But yeah, the DLC are a lot better, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean the same idea. It's just, you know, adjusted damage is all. But yeah, that's the last lock-on missiles. If you could jump with these, then they would be very, very useful, I would say. But unfortunately, they're not. All right, now the last 3 remaining missiles are where they require you to have a aerator with either a laser guide or a beacon. A guide beacon. The first one is a Phoenix. As you can see, I haven't used these in the American version. I've only used them in the Japan version. But the Phoenix, this one, I don't see too much use for it, honestly. It's not bad, but I mean, you're going to need a coordinated person with aerator to use this thing with any effectiveness. I mean, it does 12,000 damage, not terrible. 34 meter blast, it's okay. Of course, the range, but that doesn't really matter. It has more to do with the beacon or the laser guide range. And the lock-on time is very quick and the reload's very quick. So that's one positive of it, but it's one big blast. But the thing is, usually you're going to be using these particular aerator missiles on really large, huge targets, or you're going to use them on like red drones perhaps. So if that's the case, it's more useful to use the haytail for large single targets because it does more damage. Let me get the exact damage on this particular haytail. Alright, the haytail does 1207.1 times 30 when it's maxed out. So 33,000, something like that. Is that right? 30,000 and then 2 times 3 is 6,000. 36,000? I don't know. You do the math. I can't do math in my head. So about 35,000 damage, we'll say per missile, and you can dual wield these things. So that's much better than the 12,000 damage missile for the Phoenix for a single large target. Plus, it's not as you're not going to hurt yourself as much because of the smaller blast radius. They're very fast traveling as well. So I just prefer these over the Phoenix personally. But these are very good, decent range, decent turning speed. They can catch red drones. They can catch, you know, fast-moving targets. But these are going to be your main use for your primary large single targets. Just take 2 of these and then an aerator beacon them. I like the beacon better for these because you don't really need a laser guide for them. Whereas this, you're going to probably use more laser guide perhaps on it. And then last of all is the Leviathan. The Wild Leviathan, which is level 58, is the best one. It does maxed out. Mine's not maxed out quite. Maxed out, it does 120,710.7 damage. So they increased it a little bit from the other game, from EDF 4. This is going to be very dangerous because it has a 56.6 meter blast. The reload time is pretty long as well, and the lock-on time is very long. So what you need for this one is, ideally you want a laser guide kit, because the laser guide kit will allow you to lock on a lot faster. Let's see how fast the max one is. I forgot. So the guide beacon will increase it 1.5 times, which is not enough. The power beacon is 2x, which is still not enough, because that's what you're still going to have to sit there for like 9 seconds trying to lock onto it with a tiny little box. So the laser guide is going to be your best bet. It does 6x lock on, so 17 seconds divided by 6 seconds. So it's a very quick lock on, and it allows you to guide the missiles, which I'll show here in a video. But so in my opinion, the most useful are the Leviathan for if you need to bomb a large, like say you want to bomb some pillars that don't see you, or bomb a large group of enemies that don't see you, or even use it on large targets such as Arcane or Urginus, or even a hive or something. As long as you have someone up front distracting, it can be useful. But it's more of a, you know, you're going to need specific circumstances to be actually useful. Whereas the haytail, I like using them on red drones, big drones in the air, even on Arcane or Urginus if you have someone distracting, stuff like that. But Phoenix, I don't find too much use for it personally. So let's go ahead and take a look at these in the actual field. Alright, now let's show off 3 lock-ons with the aerator. Now you get to see me try and do this with myself, playing split screen by myself, as I usually do with my feet. Okay, so I have the guide beacon, I have the laser guide kit. So, as you can see, for the... Actually, first of all, let's do the Phoenix. Phoenix has a decently large box to lock on, which is nice. I'm just going to use a beacon gun here. Let's go ahead and just shoot a beacon right here. One thing nice is if you don't kill the enemy, if you shoot the ground, then it depends on where you need it. But if you shoot the ground, then the beacon won't disappear because the enemy won't be dead. But let's go ahead and lock onto this and see. Comes in pretty fast, decent blast, as you can see. But like I said, it's kind of like in between the Leviathan and the haytail. Like if you need burst damage on a single target, chances are you're going to be using the haytail, and if you need big blast on a large group of enemies, chances are you're going to use the Leviathan. So they kind of counter each other. Let's go ahead and restart here. I mean, it definitely travels fast. That's one positive of it. But let's take a look at the haytail. This is my favorite for single targets. If you need like Arcane, Urginus, hives, even pillars, maybe if you have if you can coordinate with someone else. But as you can see, you lock on all your missiles, and then they shoot out, and they travel very fast, which is nice. So, like I said, the negative of the beacon is if the enemy dies, then the beacon is going to disappear once the body disappears. So, but you know, on large targets, it's not going to matter because the enemy is not going to be disappear until it's dead, of course. So that's why you're using that. But I prefer the Haytail for sure over the Phoenix personally. Alright, on to the Leviathan now. Now, the Leviathan, as you can see on the left side, there's a very small lock-on box, so it can be hard to aim onto a beacon if it's a large moving target you're trying to hit. So if you are going to beacon a large moving target like Arcalus or Urginus, try and beacon him in the chest, because his chest moves the least amount as he moves around the battlefield. Like if you beacon him on his head, then his head's going to be moving around. It's going to be harder for you to lock on because his head's going to be moving a lot. Or if his legs or arms, they're going to move around a lot more. Where if you hit him right in the middle of the chest, it's going to be easier for the fencer to lock on. Just a little tip there. But like I said, if you're trying to, an alternative, if you're trying to hit a large moving target, it's a little bit tough to lock on, but you can use a laser guide kit with the air raider, and this is kind of fun with an air raider. So what you can do is, you can get like, I don't know, I've seen 8 missiles in the air at once before you hit them land on your target. The way you do that is, what you'll do is you'll take the laser guide kit and you'll lock onto one far away building that's, you know, on the right side of the screen, and then have him, you know, launch 2 missiles in the air at that building, and then tell him, once they're in the air, then tell him to lock onto another building that's on the other side of the map that's large, so get 2 more in the air, and then meanwhile those other 2 missiles are traveling back to this building, and then get 2 more in the air, and then now you have 4 in the air, and then once they get close to this building, then go to the other building again, lock on 2 more. So you have 6 in the air, and get the 6 close to this building, and then keep doing that until you get like 8. It's a little bit tough to get 8, but I think I've seen 8 in the air max. I think, but like I said, the missiles will eventually disappear in the air, so you have to be careful with that. But you do have a decent amount of time for them before they disappear. But then once you have, you know, 6 or whatever, or 4 even in the air, then you can take the air raider and you can guide them where you want them, because they move very quickly, so they're easy to guide, which I'll show here in a second. So that is the easiest way. It's like, so if you're trying to laser designate an enemy, don't aim at the enemy. I would recommend aiming at the ground. And you'll notice here, when the missiles are being locked on, you'll see it's flashing green right here, yellow and green. So whenever I'm locked on, I'm locking, it's yellow and green. But once it's locked on, it'll turn solid white. And then once it's in the air, it'll turn red. So that's how you know how many missiles you have as the laser designator. So as you can see in the air here, let's go ahead and pull it to this building here. As you can see, if I want to move it over here now, it turns very quickly. It's very easy to guide. So it's easy to kind of juggle them in the air if you can get good at that. And like I said, once you have multiples in the air, then you can go ahead and aim where you want them, and then you can just bomb the target with a whole bunch. That way, it's the benefit of having, you know, 4 or 5 in the air is if you want to get all that damage on the target before they see you. You know, you want to do that burst damage of 5 missiles rather than hitting them once, then second, then 3 times. You know, one at a time, because then the enemies will see you and they'll come after you. Let's go ahead and restart. Alright, let's take a quick moment to appreciate just how large these missiles are in his backpack. This is a guide beacon. As you'll be able to see, it takes a lot longer to do the guide beacon method rather than the laser guide. But if you have a stationary target, it's fine. Alright, there we go. There we go. Look at it. As you can see, those are the size of like a adult giraffe or something. But, I mean, that is ridiculous how they manage to pack those into the backpack. I mean, HQ is always right, so we don't question these things, but absolutely amazing. So I just want to take time just to appreciate the technology that we have. Alright, let's go back now. So that is the last of the 2 columns and of all the weapons. So, like I said, if you're interested in the other weapon types, I did all 4 classes and all the weapon types in the game. So if you're interested in that, please search Test All Weapons, EDF 5. You should be able to find them, or underneath the class playlist. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It does help more people to find the videos in their recommended feed, so I'd much appreciate that. And remember, EDF doesn't leave a man behind, ever. And if you're interested in ways to help financially support the channel, there's you can hit the join button, which is next to the subscribe button. It has 3 different tiers, or you can watch a few ads, or you can share the channel with someone that does help financially. It's very much appreciated. Hope to